Hey everyone, Tim here from Simulated Aviation. Today, we'll be taking a look at SimWorks Studios' Zenith 701 stall plane for Microsoft Flight Simulator. SimWorks Studios is known for their incredible work in P3D and FSX with products such as the F4 Phantom. The Zenith is definitely our new favorite plane, and we're confident backcountry bush pilots will feel the same way. SimWorks Studios has put in great effort in really making this aircraft come to life. Looking around the aircraft, you can just see the extreme amount of detail that went into bringing the Zenith to Microsoft Flight Simulator. From the high-resolution PBR textures, to the small details of the wiring, piping, scratches, rust, and anything else you would expect to see on a real-world aircraft. You'll almost think you're flying the real thing. The Zenith comes with 4 liveries, 3 of which have the no doors option if you're looking for that backcountry feel. The doors do open and close on the ground, but once you're in the air, they'll stay shut. Let's take a moment to admire the pure beauty that is the Zenith 701. The Zenith even comes complete with night lighting, so you're able to read your instruments at night, something that the Shock Ultra lacks. When you purchase the Zenith 701, not only do you receive this incredible aircraft, but the developers have even included 3 custom airports for you to explore. Our favorite is 44N, Sky Acres in Millbrook, New York. I teamed up with my buddy Matrix to do some formation flying in the Zenith, and man, if it weren't for this disappearing airplane effect, you'd have no problem putting on an air show. Now let's jump in the cockpit and take a look at how the systems work and just how she feels in the air. Alright guys, now that we're in the cockpit of the Zenith, let's go ahead and go through the startup procedure. First things first, we're going to go ahead and turn our master switch on and our fuel pump switch on. Once you've got both of these up and running, the navigation display will pop up, and we're going to go over to the fuel selector and switch to left, right, or both. For now, I'm going to go with both just to keep things even for weight distribution. And once you've done that, you are pretty much good to go to start the aircraft. There is no parking brake, so before you turn over the key, make sure that you've got your foot on the brakes, otherwise you might roll forward. We're just going to go ahead and crank it over to start, and we can bring it back to center. And technically, you're good to go. If you go look over here at the switches on the right, we've got all of our lights. We've got the instrument panel, we've got landing lights, nav lights, and strobe lights. And below we've got the fuses, which if you do pop them out, they will actually disable whatever it is you are. So like the instrument lights, take out the fuse, and that'll come off. You can't really see it because it's not nighttime, but it does work. Navigation lights, same thing with everything else there. And you're good to go. And most backcountry pilots will just do this and, you know, get to the skies. Now, if you go into navigation, go click on direct route. You're going to be using this dial on the right here to enter in the numbers and select the flight plan. So first thing, go ahead and push down, and then you're going to use the big dial to change these different sections here, and the little dial to change the numbers. So we're going to go ahead and type in N69. It's a close airport to the one we're at now. N, big dial, and go back to the little dial. Go over to 6, big dial again, and go down to 9. Once you've done that, go ahead and hit enter. And once you've done that, you can hit the middle button again and use the big dial to go down to activate. At activate, click on enter, and your flight plan is loaded. Alright, so now that we've got our flight plan in, engine started, I'm going to go ahead and raise the flaps up all the way because you don't really need the flaps on takeoff in this bird. And let's get taxiing. So off brakes, and without even adding any throttle, this plane is so light that it just starts moving on its own. Now again, we're here at N44. This is one of the airports that comes with the aircraft that SimWorks Studios has developed around this plane. There's 3 airports altogether that they've modified to make for an awesome bush experience as you're taking up the Zenith here in the virtual skies. Now, one thing to know is that this aircraft is extremely FPS friendly. It might not look like it on stream. If we're losing a few frames from recording, that's just because we're recording. But generally, when I'm flying this and not recording, we're getting a solid 60 frames, no problem, which is huge. And technically, we don't have to take off from the runway because this is a stall aircraft, which means you can take off and land in extremely small distances, short distances rather. And again, I don't have any power in here. We're just moving along. This aircraft is definitely going to be one of my new favorites, and the airports involved that they give you here are absolutely beautiful. I mean, just looking around at how we're taxiing here, you know, we've got all these hills, and the taxiways are not, you know, just straight, clean taxiways. There's a lot of life going on here at this airport. All right. So we're on the runway. And let's just watch it how quick this takes off. So we're going to do a full run up, off brakes, and here we go. And in just a matter of seconds, we can start pulling back on the stick, and we're up. That was fast. And if you're a bush pilot and you want to get in and out of short landing strips, spots on mountains, this is the plane to do it. Now I'll go over the landing handling here later on in the video, but let's just fly around the area and just see how it handles. So taking a left-hand turn here. So this plane's got some power to it. It's got the power you need to take off in those short distances, and just the handling of it feels great. I suppose you could compare it to the Shock Ultra a bit for how it handles, but in reality, this thing's a beast. I think this might even be more powerful and easier to take off and land in short areas than the Shock Ultra. Let's go ahead and roll out here. And so you can follow your nav map here. Everything works. You can set up the comms and all the frequencies. If you're at a IFR pilot, you'll know a bit more about the nav modes and the squawk codes and everything else like that. Go ahead and turn on the transponder here, and it does work. Once again, I'm not an IFR pilot. I don't have that much experience with IFR, so I'm not quite sure how that works, but it does work. I've got our co-pilot here, and we've got a nice satchel on the back, which is extremely detailed. So even the smallest details in this aircraft are extremely detailed, and just makes this plane such a fun plane to fly. One thing I really like about this aircraft as well is how much visibility you have. You've got this whole door here is wide open. This plane comes with the no door variants of the Zenith, so if you don't want to have doors at all, you can just take them off by selecting the livery. Otherwise, you can open the doors on the ground, which is a nice feature to have, and I'll show that off here once we find a spot to land. Now, just looking at this grass strip, we'll pick anywhere out here, and I'm going to land on this grass strip over here. Now, something really cool about this is if there's high winds and you put down the flaps, this plane will almost act like a helicopter. We don't have winds on right now, but I've got 2 notches of flaps in, and you start to sink. So you don't want to have much flaps in unless you have high winds. Anything more than 2 notches of flaps will really get you to sink, so you really need that wind to keep you up in the air. So coming in here, little flare. We're down, hold the brakes, and we are stopped. Boom. Like I said, incredibly short landing distances, incredibly short takeoff distances as well. I'm just going to turn her around here, we'll take back off. And something that SimWorks Studios has implemented is the gyro for your artificial horizon. You can uncage and cage it realistically, whereas Microsoft Flight Simulator doesn't always allow you to do it so realistically. Oh, we got flaps up, we got over the trees. That was a bit rough taking off there, but we did it because it's capable of doing that, you know. So just getting some altitude here. So what we're gonna do is once we get a little bit of altitude, a little bit of speed, we're gonna cage the gyro and show you just how realistically that's working. It's very nice to be able to have that realism as well. So here we go, a little pull. And let's just roll over and cage the gyro if we can. It's tough doing this. Cage it. And look, it just reset itself. And we're gonna uncage it. So that's fantastic. That's fantastic. It really adds that extra level of realism. Again, we'll pull up. We'll start rolling. Cage it. And uncage. And it works just as it should. So that's a really nice feature for the Zenith here. Again, this thing handles fantastic. I mean, really, you could almost turn this into an aerobatic plane to an extent. We pull up and try to do a little hammerhead here. We'll pull up, stalling, and left rudder. Oh, that didn't work too well. Try it one more time. I think I started the rudder a little too soon, so there we go. Pulling up. There's vertical, waiting for it to slow down, and left rudder. Well, I'm not the best at that, but as you can see, it's doable. It's doable. So that's what I really love about this aircraft is you can really fly just about anywhere you want and you can land anywhere you want. Even this little neighborhood over here we'd be able to land at. So let's go ahead and try that now. So again, I'm going to put in 1-notch flaps, 2-notch flaps. Add some back pressure on the stick because you will start sinking without wind. Because this aircraft is designed to be a stall aircraft, and that stands for, short takeoff and landing. So that's what it's designed to do. It's designed to be a bush plane. It's designed to land and take off in these small areas. So I was coming in here, sorry cars on the road, got an emergency landing. Do a little flare. Hit the brakes. A little back pressure on the stick and you're down. Easy as that. So I know this is definitely one of my favorite aircraft so far, and it's just going to keep getting better. With the incredible detail, from the textures to the modeling, and to how it handles, you really can't go wrong. Well, that's it for the Zenith 701 first look. Big shout out to SimWorks Studios for allowing us the opportunity to give all of you an exclusive preview. And if you enjoyed this video, consider leaving a like and subscribing to stay up to date on future videos. We'll see you in the virtual skies.